Hello, I'm Dan from RVer Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at our brand new 2024 Coachmen Pursuit Model 31BH. Today, just like always, I'll be giving you the full walkthrough outside and then the inside, so you will be all set and prepared when renting from us. Now, for the dimensions of this unit, it is going to be almost 32 feet long, and we like to give, especially new customers, a little bit of space around and to the sides of the RV, so we like to say it is 10.5 feet wide and 12.5 feet tall. So just keep 12.5 in mind for things like parking garages, drive-throughs, and tunnels. Start off, we're going to be taking a look at all of these storage compartments on the driver's side, starting off with this tiny one in the front here. Moving along, we have our propane tank over here. So this is our propane tank. It'll last you a good week or so before you'll have to refill it. It is 20 gallons for this one. In case you do have to refill at truck stations and campsites, they'll do that for you. But you can leave this on since your fridge actually runs on propane when you're not plugged into a campsite, to shore power as we call it. But other than your fridge, it'll also be for things like your furnace, your water heater, and your stove. Moving along, we have a much bigger storage compartment, and this is also where we've placed all the hoses and cords that we'll give you for your rental. In our first bag here, we have our sewer hose. I'll show you how to dump out your waste tanks very soon. Next up here, we have this bag with a bunch of other things. Starting off with our white hose here, this is our Fresh and City water hose. I'll show you where to hook up all of these things. This black wire here is our TV cable. And then we also have a couple of adapters for this unit. So since this RV takes 50 amp service, we have a 50 to 30 amp adapter, and then we have a 30 to 15 amp adapter. Now, be aware, if you are plugging into an adapter, it won't be nearly as powerful as when you're plugged into 50 amps. So, especially the more powerful appliances like the AC units will not be able to work on smaller ampage. And lastly in here, you'll see that this is where the power cord is connected to the RV itself. So all you want to do is just take this end here. This is 4 prongs, 50 amp, and you're going to plug this into the electrical hookup at your campsite. Once you're plugged in, all of your major electrical appliances inside will work. That'll be both of your AC units, it'll be your microwave, all your TVs, as well as all of your power outlets behind the front cab. So once you're plugged in, everything will be working and you won't have to worry about your generator. Just above this storage compartment, we have our exhaust for the hot water and the exhaust for the furnace. So of course these are both going to be hot, so don't put your hand there. On to the next storage compartment here, we have our dumping station. So this will be how we dump out our 2 waste tanks. So starting off, we have our sewer hose here I showed you before. All I did was just thread it through this little hole in the bottom here and hook it up to the outlet here. And then this is where our 2 waste tanks here converge. So we have our black tank, which is for our toilet water, and then we have our gray tank for our sink and shower water. So once you've hooked that up and then you've stuck the other end with the elbow in your sewage, we can open up these 2 valves. So I recommend you open up the black one first for the toilet water, and then the gray one, they're color coded here, for the gray water, so it kind of flushes out your sewer hose here. There's a control panel inside the RV that will tell you how full or empty these tanks are. So once they're open up, they're emptying out due to gravity, and they say they're empty, you can just push them back into close and then unscrew your hose and you're all good to go. We also have a couple more things here in this storage compartment. We have our inlets to winterize and to flush out the sewer tank, so you won't have to worry about that for your rental. But below that, we also have our outside shower. So if you want to wash off dirt or sand before you head inside the RV, you just have a little faucet here. Next up, we have a couple other connections here. Starting off with our TV cable connection, that small black wire I showed you earlier. You're just going to hook it up in here, stick the other end at the post at your campsite for cable. If you don't have cable, you also have an antenna for this RV, so you can find local channels through the air instead. And below that, we have our water system. So we have 2 different inlets over here. You're going to use that same, you're going to use the white hose I showed you earlier for both of these inlets. So these are going to serve 2 different purposes. We have our freshwater inlet here on the bottom. This is to fill up your tank. So we have a water tank, it's 50 gallons for this RV. So if you are dry camping, you're on the road, you want to use sink, shower, toilet, you're going to use it from your tank, of course, and this will be how you fill it up. Now, as opposed to the freshwater inlet, we have our city water inlet. This is for when you have an external pump, for example, at your campsite, and you want to take their water instead of from your own tank. So once you hook up the same hose but to the city water instead, this will bypass your tank and it'll go straight into your pipes. And lastly, on the driver's side here, we have our generator compartment. So the generator is a substitute for when you're not plugged in at a campsite to your electrical 50 amp. So if you're not that, you're going to use your generator. I'll show you how to turn that on inside. Your generator is going to run on your engine gas. So as long as you're at least a quarter tank full, this will work for you. This is going to run pretty much everything that your electrical will run. So your AC units, TVs, microwave, and all of your power outlets behind the front cab. Now, in case you run a bit too much at once on the generator, it might cause it to trip, although it is a pretty powerful generator for this one. In case that happens, you just take the top off here, and then you'll find your breakers right over here. So one or both of these will flip backwards. All you want to do is just flip them towards you like that. Everything else for the generator is handled inside. Now onto the back of the RV, we have a couple of things to look at here. We have our fuel inlet. So this RV just takes regular 87 gas. The tank is going to be 80 gallons. So just make sure it clicks just like that before you leave the gas station. We also have your rear view camera up here. So when you put the RV in reverse, that'll pop up for you on the display. And then we have our service ladder up here. Please don't just go up to the roof there. It's just to service the AC unit, the antenna, that kind of stuff. And now onto the passenger side. All of these compartments are pretty much just storage. This is probably our biggest storage compartment right here in the rear of the passenger side. We've got another storage compartment down here. We also have a propane outlet. So if you have an external grill at your campsite, for example, you can hook it up to here and it will take it off of the propane tank that I showed you on the driver's side. We have a couple of power outlets over here. So for these to work, you want to make sure that your generator is running or you're connected to shore power at your campsite. We've got another storage compartment. This one's rather long for things like beach chairs and umbrellas. We also have this ladder here for the overhead bunk in the front. And lastly, we have an outside TV over here. Just like the ones on the inside, make sure your generator is running or you're plugged into shore power for this to work. And that concludes the outside portion of this walkthrough. We can head inside over here. Just like that. You'll see the automatic step comes out here. We also have a detachable screen door right over here. Now at the entrance, we have a couple more things to go over, starting with our fire extinguisher over here for safety. We also have our smoke detector up top on the ceiling over there, and we have a carbon monoxide and propane detector somewhere along the bottom here, I think near the fridge right there. We have a bunch of lights over here, starting with our step light here. This is a puddle light that'll be more visible at nighttime so you don't trip. We have two inside lights. They have them separated for some reason. These are the lights over here. And then this one here says entry lights are a little bit further up to the front of the RV. And then we have awning lights, which are the LED strip outside for the awning. We also have this knob here. This is for our house battery. So it's just turn it this way to go off and then turn it this way to turn it on. The house battery is actually underneath these steps right here. And they're for very minor electrical things like the lights, awning, slide out, water pump. You can leave this on during your rental unless you plan on walking away from your RV for a couple days at a time. It won't die on you otherwise. There's a lot of different ways to charge it. You have when your engine's running, when your generator is running, or when you're plugged into shore power. It'll all power your house battery here. Also near our entrance, we have our switch for the awning. So all you have to do is just push down here to extend it and then push it back in to retract it. It's only for shade, so if it gets windy or rainy outside, I suggest you bring it back in immediately. But the awning should go out about 8 feet total for this one. There's also a safety feature for this, so if it's not coming out, you just want to make sure that your parking brake is on and your keys are out of the ignition. Next up here, we have the most important part of the inside of the RV. We have our control panel. So this will tell you pretty much everything you need to know about the inside and outside of your RV. Starting off with the top here, we have the levels of your tanks. So as I push down on each of these buttons, this little gauge will light up from empty to full. So pushing down on BAT, that's your house battery, you can see that is fully charged for you. Fresh is your fresh water, you can see that is full right now. We have our black tank for our toilet water that is empty. And we have our gray waste tank for our sink and shower water that is also empty. This RV doesn't have a black 2 or gray 2 tank. And then we have for LPG, that's our propane. You can see that that is also full. we have our water pump switch here. So when I switch this on, you'll see this the red light here turns on. That means that we are now drawing water from our water tank. So if you want to use the sink, shower, or toilet when you're on the road, you want to make sure that this is on before you use anything that uses water. However, if you are plugged into city water at your campsite, you want to draw from their pump instead of from your own. So you're actually going to have this off if you're connected to city water. Now when it comes to heating up your water, we have two different options here. We can either heat it up with propane, which is the default, or we can heat up with electricity if you're plugged in at a campsite. When I switch this on, you'll hear the water heater go on outside where that exhaust was, and then it'll take up to 10-15 minutes to heat up your water with propane. You only want to have this on when you want hot water, because otherwise it'll be constantly draining your propane. If you want to use electricity at your campsite, it will take much longer to heat up your water, but at the benefit of not using your propane. So when you're plugged in at a campsite, you can turn this on and just wait up to a couple hours for it to cool down. We have another blue switch here. This is to turn on our antenna. So if you want to listen to your radio in the front, or if you want to use the antenna for any of your TVs, you want to have this on. If you are plugged into cable at your campsite, you want to have this off. We have this big switch over here, sort of like the awning, but this is for the slide out here. So we have one big slide out for this RV that is on the driver's side. It goes all the way to the back here. It is extended free right now, so this is the biggest the RV gets on the inside. And like the awning, there's a safety feature. You want to make sure your parking brake is on and your keys are out of the ignition. This switch here is for tank heaters, so this is to heat up your waste tanks. If you know you're traveling to a place where it's below freezing, you can switch it on here. It'll use your house battery and your propane to heat up your waste tanks so they don't freeze over. And lastly, we have our generator here. So this number here will tell you the total number of hours the generator has been running ever since it was manufactured. So you can see right now it says 44.0 hours. You can measure your time that you're using the generator that way. We recommend you have the generator on for no more than 3 hours at a time, and then have it off for about 2 to 3 hours to prevent it from overheating. If you want to turn on the generator, you're going to hold down stop first, actually, for a few seconds just to prime it, get it ready. You'll see that red light turn on. Then I can hold down start here, give it a few seconds, and then you will hear the generator start up. Now you can hear the generator is running. You're going to wait about 30 seconds, and then when you hear your microwave beep, that means that everything is now running and you can use it. With the generator on, I can show you your thermostat here. So we have one for the living area in the front, and then we have a second AC unit for your bedroom in the back. Both of these use the same thermostat. It's very simple to use. I'm just going to keep pressing mode to cycle through the different modes. So right now you can see it is set to off. I'm just going to push it once. That'll be fan on. It'll be just the fan, so no AC. You can hear that turn on there. I'm going to press it one more time, and now you see the snowflake here with cool. That will be your AC, and then you can adjust the temperature with these two buttons over here. I'll push it one more time. You have to worry about heat pump here. I'm going to push it one other time, and then you'll see when it just says furnace here, it is now running your furnace, which uses a bit of your house battery and a bit of your propane to heat up your RV. I'm going to push it one more time back to off, and now everything's off. You also have this button here for the fan. That'll just control the fan speed, this little level here. Also with the generator on, I can show you how to find channels on your TV. So once you press the power button, you're going to go to this menu here. I'm just going to go over to the right here to this setting icon. I'm just going to go down to live TV and select that. Channel scan. Next. And then it'll take about 5 minutes to find channels for you. To turn the generator off, you just want to hold down the stop button here. Continuing on, we're in the back of the RV where we have our own separate master bedroom. We have our king size bed over here. We have a lot of storage up and around. Then we have a little cabinet over here. Just you can hang some clothes. There's a pull in here. We have our AC unit over here with a thermostat, just like the one in the living area. And then we have our own TV in here as well. We also have two sliding privacy doors, one for this side over here, and then another one for the bathroom. On the driver's side, we also have some bunk beds here with their own privacy curtains, and they also have their own TVs. We have our bathroom over here, and this is also how we access the master bedroom in the back when your slide out is in. Starting off with the toilet here, it's sort of like an airplane toilet. You just want to push down on this pedal to flush it down. Just make sure your water pump is on or you're plugged into city water at your campsite. I should also mention that toilet paper is RV specific. So you want to go to the camping section at Walmart, or campsites will also sell this kind of RV marine dissolvable toilet paper. Also provide you a couple of bottles of solution during your rental. This is just to pour down the toilet as needed in case the smell ever comes up from the black tank. Apart from that, we have our standard sink and shower. Also here we have our combined fuse box and circuit breaker box at the bottom of the bed. So we'll also provide you with some extra fuses during your rental just in case anything blows. Moving forward, now we're in the living area, sort of where we have our kitchen on both sides. I'm going to start off with the fridge on the passenger side here. There's this little safety lock. You just push it just like that to unlock the fridge. So we have a pretty big fridge here. This is going to run on propane when you're not plugged in, like we are right now. But once you do plug into shore power at your campsite, it will automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your fridge will stay on the entire time. To my left here, we have the other end of the kitchen. Starting off with our microwave here. We also have just a light and fan for the stove down here, which runs on propane. So we have our 3 dials for the 3 burners here. So all you have to do is just set it to this high option here, and then just spark it with the igniter here. We also have our knob for the oven down here. You can spark it the same way, and then we have some night lights here as well. We also have this little storage compartment here for cutlery. And then we have our standard kitchen sink over here. And here we are in the living area. We have our sofa here and our dinette. The sofa here has 2 seat belts, and the dinette here has 4 more seat belts for a total of 8 seat belts, including the 2 seats up front here. Both of these will turn into beds, and I'll show you that starting with the sofa. The sofa is very simple. You just want to pull it up and out like a futon. For the dinette, you want to start by lifting up these cushions over here on both sides. From there, we can lower our table because we have our lock right here. So right now it's flipped to the right, which means it's locked. You're going to flip it to the left here to unlock it, and then you can push it down onto these ledges here. And lastly, we can arrange the cushions in this format, and here's our bed. When it comes to the windows, just want to push up on this latch here to unlock it. You can just pull it out to open it up. You can do the same with the screen over here. And then for the blinds, they're just pull down and push up. We have our overhead bunk over here. You just want to push on these 2 black latches on either side just to unlock it here, and then unlock it over here. And then we're going to pull it down like this. Once and twice, just like that. And if you'd like, you can also attach these safety hooks onto the edges over here. And here's our bed. During your rental, we'll also provide you with this envelope with a lot of useful things. Starting off with our online guide / manual. This will answer pretty much any question you have in general about RVs. You also have your 24/7 roadside assistance number via Coachnet. They can answer any question you have, or even send out a mechanic for you in case anything happens during your rental. You'll also see that we have some extra fuses that I was talking about for the fuse box, and we also have a registration in here. Here we are in the front cab. I'll just start off with the keys. The ones that you're going to be most interested in are your engine key over here. The purple key here is going to be for your cabin door to enter the RV. And then this gray key here is going to be for your outside storage compartments. We also have our own contact information if you want to contact us about anything regarding the rental itself. There are a couple of things I want to go over here on the center console. First off, the AC system, and a lot of these things are just like a regular truck. But we have our little display here. So we have a radio here, we can connect our phone to Bluetooth, or we also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Swiping over here, we also have our rear view camera. So if I tap that, we have our rear view camera here in case you want to use it when you're driving instead of just playing the RV in reverse. We also have side view cameras. So when I put on our blinker, we have our right camera here, and we have our left camera here. We have a few other switches over here. Map light, or just the lights, 2 lights up front here. You're going to want to switch this on if you want to use your radio. We can actually start the generator from the front cab over here. And then we also have our auxiliary start. That is to start the engine instead of from your car battery. You can use it start with the house battery. We have this little switch here. This is to adjust our left and right mirrors, and then this is to heat up our mirrors in case they're fogged up. We also have our leveling jack system over here. So once you put the keys in the ignition, I'm just going to hold down on here. To bring down the jacks, first you want to make sure that your parking brake is on. I'm just going to press auto over here, and it'll take a couple minutes to level out your RV. I suggest you go outside and spot and make sure everything's level, everything's good to go. And then before you leave, we can press retract all jacks. It'll take another couple minutes to bring all the jacks up. Once again, I suggest making sure, going around spotting, making sure that everything is up before you leave your campsite. We have our parking brake over here, so just going to push it in to engage it, and then we have a little lever here to release it. And that'll be all for our walkthrough of the 2024 Coachmen Pursuit 31BH. I'm Dan from Ace RV Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.